So I'm here at Allrounder Cycles in Emeryville, California, and Omar is going to show us how to install a difficult tire on a difficult rim.
Here's a Perimoto, Pacenti Perimoto, and the first thing you want to do is dislodge the bead on one side of the tire and push it towards the center. So I'm taking the bead, this is the bead here, and you're pushing it off of the side of the rim. Sometimes it's stuck. And then you want to do the same on the other side. See how it's kind of stuck right there? You want to push it off of that towards the center. So now you probably want to start close to the valve. And there's a good reason for that. So I'm going to scoop up a little of the bead here. But instead of trying to go ahead and trying to push it off, I guess you could and see if it works. It helps to hold that lever in place and just sort of knead the tire side to side, pushing the beads toward the middle and simultaneously pushing that tire towards in the direction of the lever. So I'm moving it toward the center and I'm putting force towards the lever. And then you'll feel it get looser at the lever. See, now it can move a little bit easier. So that's one side of the tire, and now I'm going to go to the opposite side. And starting at the opposite side of the lever, kneading side to side, and pushing the tire towards the lever. And now it should start to slide much more easily. And now you can take the tire off pretty easily. Sometimes it helps to remove the tube. And then set this down. And the second bead should come off pretty easily. So there it is. And you can see we used tubeless tape because it's thinner than, say, cloth tape or some of the other plastic or nylon rim strips. So now we're going to put it back on, and this time we're going to make sure that the direction of the herringbone is going in the proper direction. So usually we want to make sure that the labels are reading towards the drive side, because when people are ogling your components, they can they can read what rims you have. It's kind of a stupid but small detail. But we're going to line up the valve and the label. And let's see, did I get this backwards again? Got it backwards again. So I'm going to flip the tire around because the herringbone is actually, if you can look closely, it's pointing in that direction. And that's forward. So here we go. Put this on the ground. There's the valve hole right there, so we're going to line up the label with the O with the OT about there. And we're just going to get one bead on, one side of the tire on.
And so why do people like to line up the label with the valve stem?
You know what? I think it's a tradition that has no real use or purpose, but I find it useful because when you get a flat or a puncture, it helps you find the hole in the tube. Because say you take the inner tube out and you see a puncture over here, you pump it up and you find the areas coming out. You can map that out on the tire by putting the valve back near the label and then finding the spot on the tire where you saw a hole. And you can usually find the glass or a thorn in that spot of the tire and remove it. So I think it serves some function, but it also just looks like you paid attention to as you're putting the bike together.
It's good for the details.
It's a detail.
Okay, let's see how this goes
I'm
back
going to
in.
put a little air in this tube. You could do this, you could inflate this with your, blowing into it, or you could just use your pump, put a little bit of air.
And just mention, you already pre-talked this tube.
Yeah. I just threw a little baby powder in a little plastic bag, aired up the tube a little bit, just like this. Put it in the plastic bag and close the plastic bag and shake the baby powder all around, and it gets a light coating of powder on it, so helps the tube to not twist when you're installing it. So here we are. We're going to start with the valve going in. And another thing that might help is lay the tube in there, but then start installing from the opposite side of the valve. And so you start putting it on. You want to get the second bead on, and as it gets more difficult to put on, you can start releasing some of the air, and then make sure to stuff the tire up there, and then work towards the valve.
Okay, here's the critical part.
Yeah, so here's the part that we wanted to talk about. It gets very difficult. There's a long section that doesn't want to go on, but we're going to use the same technique that we used to get the tire off. Basically, I'm putting pressure. I'm kind of kneading the tire, rolling the bead, trying to get it like over the rim, but just putting a little pressure there. I'm not trying to work. I'm trying to not work too hard. So we're going to knead again, but we're also going to push the tire in the direction. And then by the time you get up here, you'll have kind of bought yourself some material and to be able to push the bead over the top. And now you can see this section has gotten smaller. So go ahead and hold on to it like that with the opposite hand.
Hold on.
Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing on the rest of the tire. With my right hand, I'm going to knead the tire and kind of put pressure in a rolling motion over the rim, and then not trying too hard here. And then with my left hand, I'm going to knead the tire left and right, pushing the tire in the direction of this section that needs to go back on. So now we're getting to the end here, but this section is hanging over, but it's easier to push now. You can just roll it over, and
Wow.
you don't have to have
That looks so easy.
you don't need to use a tire lever. In fact, better to not use a tire lever, because you risk pinching the tube when you're trying to get it on, and then you got to get it off again. So there you go.